We're going to head over in a little bit to swearing in of 24 new Bridgeport police officers today, which is the second. Come on up, Chief. Come on up. Kim, John, anybody else wants to, please? Ernie, you want to come up? Come on up, please. The second of 3 classes that have been put into place in the city of Bridgeport in the past a little over a year as part of a commitment that we made collectively to rebuild with manpower the Bridgeport Police Department. And, you know, in somewhat of an apologetic way, I look back and look at where past administrations had allowed the police department to drop to some of its lowest manning levels that we've seen since, frankly, I'm old enough to say this, since we came in office in 1991. And these type of failures, and this is not to cast blame because I don't care about the past, I'm just telling you, this type of inaction has consequences. And I'm happy to be here today as we swear in the second class of 24 officers, which will be a total of 52 officers, Chief, since you've come on, since we've come on together, with another class of 29 that's in school now. And that's not the end of the story, but it's a good way to frame out where we're going in about a little over an hour. And I hope all of you would join us over there, because it's always an honor and pleasure. There's a lot of interesting moments, and I'll share some of what I can about one today. There's a lot of interesting moments in our lives, and certainly in the life of the mayor. But one of the most, I would say, fulfilling is to be able to stand there with officers, in this case police officers, firefighters at times, and swear them in and watch them be a part of their new career, but part of a commitment to public safety in Connecticut's largest city. And it's funny, again, I guess I'll touch on my age, there's so many of them have said, who I've seen have been on the force 20 years and say, yeah, Mayor, I came in, you swore me in. I was part of that 100 officers that came in some 20 years ago. So that's a good piece of today. Another piece of today is this morning we met, Carolyn was there as well. We've had continuing meetings with various groups, some religious leaders, council members, community leaders, members of the police department, as an ongoing basis, and trying to dissect, not closed meetings, but not advertised to the press either, about ways in which we can work together to get ahead of the summer. But I think this morning was a small group, Connecticut Against Gun Violence, and Project Longevity, particularly with the police department. And I thought, at least for an hour this morning, I wanted to compliment their efforts and their thoughts. And Project Longevity seems to be always been focused, but even more focused, Chief, more recently. And I think that's going to bring a lot of benefits in the areas of public safety as you go forward. If you decide whatever you can talk about when we get to that point, it would be good. As well, I think because of what we've seen, and I was in the vicinity, as you know, of a shooting today, or at least gunshots, and things that have happened in the past. The Chief and I, with this new class, I want to make it very clear, are going to increase visibility and effective police presence, not just in what would be considered high crime areas, but throughout the city. Now, Chief knows me long enough to know there's no open checkbook on what to do here, certainly in the backdrop of what's been looked at as a possible large cut by the state. But wherever that money comes from, it's not going to come out of the public safety. And you're going to have the tools, now with the manpower and the resources. And I think it's fair to say that people in the city of Bridgeport will be able to visibly see an increase in police presence throughout the city, and certainly with a high concentration, as you've talked about, on some of the areas where we've had more challenges. We know where they are, we don't have to get into neighborhoods. But I don't think this is particular to any one part of the city. Well, it's a variety of parts of the city. There's a variety of elements out there that we could comment on or not, that are contributing as a minority of individuals contributing to a majority of what's happening. Come on up, Councilwoman, please. No, come on up. Somebody else there? So there's a lot of stuff going on. Another thing that I've asked the council to work with me on, since we've recognize that the state is in flux with their commitment to funding to cities, is the struggling of what we do for some youth and what we can afford to do and not afford to do. And we're going to do a big thing on Monday, I hope, if we can all be around, but make that commitment to the money that was appropriated by the City Council for our summer youth programs that were started last year as a way to give some of our young people more to do in the city. So, I'm sorry, do you want to say?
No, that's good.
So increased patrols. We have the now the MOU finally in place in the public housing projects with cooperation of the Bridgeport Housing Authority. That is a major step. Increased public safety throughout the city, visibility, but detailed units that the chief may or may not be able to talk about, focused on, come on up, Councilwoman, about with regards to where we're seeing shootings and events. As far as today, if you want to ask me questions, you could. I think I'll leave it to say that I was in the vicinity of a shooting today or shots fired. I'm, like anybody else, asked not to get into those details. There's an ongoing investigation. To a certain extent, I can't say I've been ordered, but I've been politely asked by the chief of police, and I'll certainly honor that request. He can comment as he would on any other investigation. But it was another moment in the day, but so was this morning, and so will this police class today. All circling back to, one, our challenge in a big city, but I think some of the things that we need to do, hitting the ground now, Chief, especially most symbolically with the police class being sworn in today. I'm going to stop there and turn it over to the Chief, see what he'd like to add about anything. I'm sure there's some interest in a variety of things, but as a police class, a meeting this morning, or anything that's happened during the day, you can try and address any of that.
Sure, absolutely. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Appreciate everything that you do for us and your commitment to putting in more police officers and keeping the city of Bridgeport safe, which is our mission. This is something not unique to Bridgeport, Connecticut. It's throughout the United States of America. There's a lot of violence out there. I'm not really going to go into a lot of the things that are going on, but I have made adjustments, and we have officers in strategic areas gathering not only intelligence, but arresting people who are known to us that are involved in nefarious and criminal activities. Like the Mayor said, I have increased patrol, but not only in the high crime area, but the entire city of Bridgeport. Because all citizens, to me, are the same, and they deserve equal protection of the law. I'm very happy and very proud of this new class. I've been with them, I've been interacting with them. I know they're ready, and you're going to be very happy, and so we're not surprised, but very happy and proud of these new young officers, these pups, that they're going to be hitting the streets, with a lot of enthusiasm and a lot of pride. So with that, I would.
Yeah, and I'm going to ask Carolyn, because she has been acting so graciously with her time in coordinating so many things. And I'd like to just maybe talk to you about what we talked about this morning.
Certainly. So this morning, Project Longevity, as well as Connecticut Against Gun Violence, met with the mayor primarily to discuss what has been happening with the number of incidents of gun violence, but even more importantly, what can we do to reduce the number of gun violence in our community and to make our community safer. It's a village to raise a child. It's not just the police problem or the mayor's problem. This is all our problem, and so we all have to work together to come up with some solutions. But if we can reach the families and reach the mothers and the fathers and the sisters and the brothers, hopefully we can change the mindset of some of the younger residents that are involved in antisocial behavior that is leading to incidents of violence. So I'm saddened about what's going on in my community, but I'm really feeling hopeful, that we're coming together to work together, because it's really on us. If we sit back and wait for everybody else to make change, it may be the change that we don't want to see. So, you know, we're being proactive here. We're saying, let's sit down, let's talk about what we can do versus waiting for something else to happen. We just can't afford to continue down this path. We can't lose another life. And we just have to do all that we can as a community. And it's good to know that there are programs that are working, such as Project Longevity, Connecticut Against Gun Violence, and many other programs out there. So it's, you know, a matter of continuing with those programs, supporting them, and also, you know, developing new strategies also, you know, duplicating models that may be effective in other parts of Connecticut or other parts of the US. So, you know, I'm excited that we are moving forward in trying to change what's going on in our community right now. You know, people are scared, especially in, you know, I'm thankful that we will have some money for summer jobs, because, you know, if we don't have jobs for youth, more than likely, you know, we're not going to like the alternatives that they get involved in. So, thank you.
Carolyn, I think it's a point well made, and Project Longevity is not represented here. But for those that don't know, that is a collaboration of local, state, and federal. And the way that they approach, whether it's with challenges in the community, the comprehensive approach, I think I was reassured today that that will even play a bigger role as it has in the past as we move forward. So I'm happy with that. I'm happy with the fact that we're going forward regardless of challenges with some youth. I think that's critical. I think we're going to have more announcements with that in the future. I'm glad we're rebuilding the police department. I'm not happy or satisfied with one shooting in our city. One shooting's too many. We know that. But Chief, we're with the support of the City Council and others here. You're going to have more manpower starting tomorrow morning. Did you want to say something?
I will.
Please come on up, and I don't know if Lorraine wants to say something as well.
I will like to thank
Councilwoman Anita Martinez,
the Chief of Police for their dedication and commitment within our police department. You know, social media, all you see is Bridgeport has to do better. We cannot blame Bridgeport for the actions that are taking place within what's happening in the city. We had deaths yesterday, a husband and a wife. Perhaps these individuals were not willing or ready to come forth and address their mental health or their depression. Or, you know, people are embarrassed to address this stuff when it comes to in-house things that happen. So this is an issue that is not, it did happen in Bridgeport. It's very sad that a mother, a wife, a husband had to tragically take their lives, such as what happened, but we cannot fault what is happening within the city. The young man that lost his life. We can't fault the police department or the mayor. It just so happened that he died to gun violence. The issue here is, where are these guns coming from? Who's bringing these guns to the city of Bridgeport? It's not lack of policing, it's not lack of administration, it's not lack of elected officials not fulfilling their responsibility. There's more to this. And if we work together, as we should, maybe we could come up with a solution. I'm glad that the mayor just made the announcement that there is money for youth programs. We definitely need youth programs. Project Longevity has always been a model of mine. I has always stepped in to help Project Longevity, so I'm pleased to see that they're stepping in and doing more. But as an elected official, I wish we can do more. What we really need to do, we really need to march to the Capitol and get our governor to bring back some more money into this city to fulfill the needs that we have, rather than cutting or taking from our budget. Because we need the money. We need money for our police department, we need money for our youth, we need money to continue to operate accordingly to how we should run our city. Thank you.
Thank you, Anita. And by the way, she plays a critical role. I know you go to the homes sometimes with Project Longevity too. Bill, did you want to add anything?
No, I just want to reiterate the sentiments of the other councilwoman, and thank, you know, the chief of police and the mayor for doing everything they can to try to get answers to the community. I know at times we wanna know what's going on, and we want information as, you know, as quickly as we can get it. What we do also have to realize at the same time is that we have to give the chief of police, the mayor, the administration, the time to investigate properly, so that when they are giving out information, it's information that is correct. So we're asking the community to please bear with our police department and with the current administration, so that when we are handing out information, we're giving out the correct information. The other thing I wanted to touch on was the city council just went through the whole CDBG process, and in trying to distribute monies, we tried to give monies to programs that were hiring youth. So that way where the state took funding away from us, and the workplace lost funding, we were able to different city agencies give more money to the agencies that are willing to hire the youth. So that was another step that the city council took to try to get more youth off the streets and into city jobs. And I just want to thank Carolyn and Ernie Newman for all the work that they do in our community with our youth, and the mentoring that they do, because that's sometimes the lack, is the mentoring. We can all sit here and blame each other, but if we don't have mentors within our community to take a stance, then you know, well, all the work that we're putting forth is you know, going to go unnoticed. Thank you.
Ernie's wearing, I was gonna say a lot of hats, at least one hat today.
Just one.
But one, certainly the most recent, I think, is which is admired, is your work on reentry.
Yeah, let me say this, as a person who lived through the 69 homicides in this city. We were known as the murder capital of the world. I want to thank the mayor and the chief for the good news. And I was one that was skeptic, wondering why the mayor and the chief hasn't said anything. But I'm glad when you did say something, you give people hope. And I think the piece that we missed, that we need to really think about, we need to have parents and brothers and uncles talk to their relatives. And that's the piece that we don't do. You know, police are the social workers. They're to enforce the law. And we've got to do better as a community to get involved with our neighbors. When we grew up, Joe, our neighbors were our parents. They saw us do something. They didn't wait till you got home. They took care of you when you was there. And we don't have that. So we can't just blame Joe. Can't just blame the chief. If we sit back, knowing that stuff is going on, and fail to do something, because we're just as guilty if we see it. And we're just as guilty as pulling the trigger if we don't say nothing. And it's time for the community to rise up and get more involved with your own kids. Don't start with nobody else's kids, start with your own kids. Your nieces, your nephews, your cousins. If everybody did it, just think. Young people would have a different perspective. So it's all of us, and we're all in this together. Because whether it's Ms. Jones's child, tomorrow could be your child. So we need to do a little bit better. But thank you for the new officers coming on. Thank you for finding money the best way you all could, because we need activities for these kids. We really do. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. And we were going to be reaching out to the business community as well to help us support the initiatives on the funding for the youth. We're going to start it. You know that we're making our commitment. And wherever, I think if I didn't say this before, I think I did, but I'll say it again because it's worth it. This chief has been very focused on a commitment to public safety, but also managing his departments financially. And he knows this is not an open checkbook, but it's a commitment to say, do what you need to do the job. We'll find the $27 million, or whatever it is the state cuts us. It's not going to come out of public safety. Thank you. Let's just make that clear. Or your budget, too. Thanks. All right.